Hey guys, Dr. Axe here along with my mom, Winona Axe. Mom, glad you're here today. So she's visiting from Florida, so I thought I'd bring her in and do our Facebook and YouTube Live today with her. And we're going to be talking about cancer remedies. And my mom is a breast cancer survivor. She's actually beat cancer twice. The first time she went through the conventional medical system, and the second time we followed an all-natural approach. And you're doing great now. I know you water skied a couple weeks ago. Rachel sent me pics, my sister. And we're going to talk about some things that my mom did in order to beat cancer. So she's going to share with you a little bit today. I'm going to be as well. But hey, do us a favor right now. Take a minute, press the like button, press the share button. You know, there are millions of people today suffering with cancer, and they don't know there are natural ways. And the other thing is, there's a lot of people today who might be developing some of these issues, and they don't know some of the things they can be taking for prevention on a daily basis. So take a minute right now, and I want to say thanks to everybody who is sharing this information here right now. And we're going to give some people a shout out, Mom. You can see here on the computer, we're going to have people joining us from all over the country. And if you guys want to encourage my mom, my mom doesn't like being on camera, so I kind of like drug her on here with me because she doesn't necessarily love being in front of the camera. But Mom, I'm glad you're here. And all right, so we're seeing, hey, let us know the city you're from, the state you're from, the country you're from. And I want to thank Jeanette Arnold for sharing this. I want to thank Michelle Swanky. I want to thank everybody who's clicking share right now. All right, so we've got Lisa Hart watching from California. Hey, Lisa, thanks for joining us here today. Can you see that far away? You need your glasses. You can say hey to. Okay, well, I'll say hey to everybody here as well. I'm going to say hey to Lupe from San Diego, California. Hey, Lupe, thanks for joining us here today. I want to say hi to Kiki Lyle from Miami Beach, Florida. Thanks for joining us, guys. So we're going to dive right in and talk about these top natural cancer remedies. So, Mom, one of the things you did when you were diagnosed the second time, now the first time, really not a lot of dietary changes were made. But the second time, we changed everything. So why don't you share with everybody, what were some of the things we did? We went into your house.
Cleaned out our cupboard.
Cleaned out your cupboard, got out a big garbage can.
Right, that's exactly what we did. And we went to the grocery store. We shopped the perimeter. He took me to the vegetable aisle and the organic section. And we just started pulling parsley, cilantro, red peppers, cucumbers, celery, carrots,
some beets.
Yeah, tons of beets.
So that's what my mom, she started juicing several times a day. If you've heard of the Gershon therapy, we didn't do it Gershon exactly, but we did a lot of vegetable juicing. And so the vegetable juices, we did a lot of celery. You know, celery is great for fluid exchange and very alkalizing, as is cucumber. We did a lot of carrots and beets. You know, carrots are really high in vitamin A, which is great for supporting the immune system. Beets are high in nitric oxide, which really helps with circulation. But the biggest things we did in there, you know, we would put in ginger root. We did a lot of parsley and cilantro as well. A lot of those.
And turmeric.
Definitely. Yeah, so did turmeric root in there. So she did her vegetable juice every single day, would do green veggie juices. So that was a big part of her natural protocol. And then diet-wise, you know, you would do like a little bit of chicken and broth. I know you did a lot of salads, right? Anything else diet-wise? You did kefir.
Well, tons of kale. I mean, it was tons like I lived on green things.
Oh yeah, lots of greens, a little bit of broth, but lots of herbs as well was a big part of the diet there. So along with the juicing, you did some meat, but it was a small amount, more like wild salmon, again, some broth, but tons of vegetables, and then berries. You know, you did a few berries, some flax. So that was really her diet she followed on a daily basis. By the way, hey, thanks everybody who's jumping on and sharing this. We've got my mom here. Grew up in Florida, but she lives in Ohio, but she's from Florida now. She's up here visiting me in Nashville, Tennessee. And we're talking about how she beat cancer naturally and all natural cancer remedies. And thanks everybody who's punching that share button right now. So, okay, we talked about number one, juicing. Number two here, probiotics. How many or how much probiotics did you take a day?
Approximately 100 billion.
Okay, 100 billion a day. So that would be the equivalent of, if it's a higher dose capsule, probably 2 capsules a day. For some probiotics, it might be as much as 6 a day. But she really loaded up on probiotics. And also, you know, one of the things I know you did is, we didn't do much dairy, but you did a little bit of that goat's milk kefir, right? We drove out to an Amish farmer or a farmer's market in Ohio, got some kefir, and you noticed that helped with your gut, right?
Right, definitely. Definitely.
So, and the other big thing about probiotics is, probiotics are crucial for nutrient absorption. There's a lot of people today who are taking multivitamins and all these different foods, but they're not absorbing and digesting their food. So that's why probiotics are so important, is for that actual absorption and digestion there as well. So, and Mom, so we've talked about this. I know you were diagnosed with cancer. There are a lot of other issues you had too, right? What were some of those?
Definitely. Constipation was a major one.
Yeah.
But the juicing and the probiotics, I was just amazed at the energy that it gave me.
Yeah.
And also that my digestion system worked perfectly.
Yeah.
And it never had.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember.
Yeah. I know you lost a little bit of weight too during that time.
Wonderful.
Thyroid problems, right?
Yes,
Like
I had nodules on my thyroid, and all the tests just kept getting better and better. It took months though before because we did have tests and we hadn't seen an improvement right away. But then I want to say at the 4-month mark is when the CAT scans and the PET scan, everything did show improvement.
Yeah, and you were so faithful and regimented with making the changes. That's one of the things I tell people is, hey, if you're going to try and fight a condition like cancer, you got to go all out, give 100%. That's something my mom absolutely did. So we're just touching on remedies now, but I'm going to run through a few other things she did as well. So one, you had 11 amalgam fillings, right?
Yes.
So we got her we went to a mercury-free dentist who actually went and followed a DAMS protocol. They put a rubber dam in her mouth, had her do oxygen, remove those silver fillings. And by the way, if you've ever had that done or know the dangers of amalgam fillings, hey, post right now on Facebook Live. We'd love to hear from you, but that's one of the things we did. I know that you did a lot of Bible verses, quoting or listening to those affirmation headphones, right?
Yes, that's what I fell asleep to every night, was a cassette with healing scriptures on it. So that's what I fell asleep to. And then during the night, if I'd wake up, if I had any anxiety at any time, I would put the healing scriptures on, and they actually just calmed me. So anytime I felt fear gripping me, because you had told me, Mom, you can't let fear or anxiety get a hold of you at all. So if I felt it coming on, that's what I found calmed me.
Yeah, another thing I know you did, you and Dad took vacation, so went down to Lake Norris, went boating, and you love horses.
Yes.
And we could tell a story about how you bought a horse without asking Dad, but that's a whole nother episode. But anyways, so animal therapy, that's actually something that was done in the past. So she loved horses and being on the water. So she really started scheduling things that she loved to do. So again, we've talked about juicing, we talked about detoxification, the probiotics. Let's talk about medicinal mushrooms. What were some of those mushrooms that you took on a regular basis?
The shiitake mushrooms and the reishi mushrooms.
Shiitake and reishi. And one other I know you were taking too is cordyceps. So she took a blend. It was shiitake, reishi, cordyceps. And reishi is known as the mushroom of immortality in Chinese medicine. And cordyceps are also known as a really immune-boosting medicinal mushroom. These are known as adaptogens. We've heard of adaptogenic herbs like ginseng and ashwagandha and rhodiola. Well, medicinal mushrooms have those same benefits at lowering cortisol levels. And I'd say, Mom, that was one of the things you had. I know you taught special ed, and very, very stressful job, cortisol levels getting up. So one of the things we really focused on, and the reason we did the mushrooms, is trying to bring those cortisol levels down, balancing out the hormones to fight cancer naturally. So again, medicinal mushrooms were a great addition there. And then now let's talk essential oils. By the way, if you're enjoying this live training with myself and my mom talking about natural cancer remedies and how my mom beat cancer, hey, take a minute right now, help us spread this message, punch that share button, click that love button. There are millions of people today struggling with cancer. They don't know there's natural ways, or there are people that don't know that they need to be preventing it by, one of the things, Mom, I know we talked about after you had cancer, and I started saying to my patients is, hey, I eat like I have cancer every day. For me, and even today you still do some juicing, you still take probiotics, right? You still use essential oils. Right. You're still doing this stuff, even though you don't have that diagnosis. So important thing to remember there as well. All right, number 4, essential oils. What were a couple of those essential oils you used on a regular basis?
Frankincense and myrrh.
Okay, you used frankincense and myrrh. So how would you use those? Internally, topically? Did you diffuse them?
Well, I mixed them in with coconut oil.
Okay.
I tried doing the lotions, but then I tried to simplify everything. And so I just put it in coconut oil,
And you rubbed it on
rubbed it on the different important areas of the body, like the breast area, the lung area,
perfect.
the liver area, things like that.
So one of her remedies with essential oils was just mixing, drop frankincense, myrrh, 5 drops of each with about 1/4 teaspoon of coconut oil, and just rubbing that on her body. She'd do that twice a day, and that's how she used essential oils. Now, one other oil I know you used was oregano on your toe, right? Because you had a toenail fungus.
Yes.
You love it when I talk about your toenail fungus on live air, right?
That's right.
So again, we use the oregano on your toe because after chemotherapy, so your first time, so this is now we're talking about how you beat cancer your second time naturally, but the first time we know that some of those things affect the immune system. So you had fungal overgrowth on your big toe.
Yes.
We used oregano. How long did it take for that oregano oil to get rid of the toenail fungus?
It did take a while, but consistently, say 6 weeks to 2 months, maybe.
But that's actually pretty fast. 6 weeks to 2 months of using oregano oil, and oregano is incredible. Carvacol contains that compound, anti-cancer properties as well, so really powerful. So essential oils were a key part of your anti-cancer regimen, especially frankincense and myrrh. Those are absolutely 2 of the best. And now you use a little bit of lavender too, right?
Yes.
Before you go to sleep, lavender and Roman chamomile oil are great for relaxing the body. A couple others you use as well. All right, let's talk about number 5 here, chlorella and spirulina. Now, I remember when I first had you start taking these, what happened about 2 weeks after I had you taking all of this chlorella and spirulina?
I started throwing up, and he was so excited because he said, "Mom, you're detoxing." Because I had said, "Please do not send me one more supplement." And he kept sending me all these supplements in the mail.
So it was just that one time she threw up a little bit of green stuff. But again, everything started functioning.
Yes,
again, you went from having one bowel movement a week to one every single day. So you can imagine how toxic your body would be. So your body started cleansing. So that was a great sign there. But chlorella and spirulina, these are more nutrient dense than kale. Now you did a lot of kale. We talked about that. And a lot of the vegetables and herbs.
Right.
But chlorella and spirulina, we know, are so alkalizing to the body, so detoxifying for heavy metals. So that was another great thing we did too. And I think once you got those amalgams out, we did a lot of that too. Number 6 here, milk thistle and turmeric, okay? Now, we knew that we wanted to cleanse your body. Milk thistle, incredible herb for doing that. Turmeric, so we started doing those. Turmeric contains curcumin. Milk thistle contains silmarin. And so these herbs together are both great for liver detoxification. That's one of the things we always want to do is really support that liver. Because you had liver issues too, right?
Well, and they did do an MRI of the liver, and it turned out that I had cysts because on the PET scan, they had some concerns. So
you had issues with you had tumors on your lungs, nodules on your thyroid, cysts on your liver. I mean, really a lot of issues there. And then the amazing thing is this program helped heal your thyroid, it helped heal your lungs, it helped heal your liver, helped you lose weight, helped with all of those things or hormones. So again, these are cancer remedies, but these really can transform anyone's life if they start transforming their body and mind by doing these things. And so we're going to touch on omegas here. Then I'm going to go over a few other things that we haven't put on the board yet. So Mom, you also did omega-3s. What did you do for your omega?
The cod liver oil.
All right, she did cod liver oil and she did wild caught salmon. So she ate that every single week. So cod liver oil. They did a vitamin D3 supplement. On days she didn't get sunshine, but you got more sunshine.
Right.
Definitely outside.
I was outside because I started walking daily. Well, it was. It didn't matter how bad the weather was. We started walking in the snow.
Yeah.
And we had a path that we walked on, and then we learned to really appreciate the winter. That we had never enjoyed the winter. It was always like, oh, it's winter.
Yeah.
We're stuck inside. Oh no, I guess we're not.
Yeah.
Because we had to exercise.
Even in Ohio, you get outside in the winter and enjoy the snow.
Right. Because I did have a cough, so sometimes the deep breathing did irritate it, but you said, Mom, you got to oxygenate your system. So I just do that deep breathing, even though I had that cough for so many months. And all of a sudden we were enjoying winter.
Yeah, there you go. So a few other things we did here. And by the way, if you're enjoying this live training on how my mom beat cancer natural, we're talking about natural cancer remedies. Hey, take a minute right now, punch the share button, click the love button if you're loving this live training and you want to see maybe my mom and more videos with me. She might not like that, but I would love that. So we're talking about a few other things. So I'm going to run through this, and then we're going to go through 3 additional things that she did. So we talked about juicing vegetables to beat cancer. So she did between 1 to 3 glasses of vegetable juice a day. That mixture was, she did a lot of celery juice, some cucumber, some beaten carrot, lots of cilantro and parsley, some turmeric and ginger, some lemon. She did that juice, and then kale, adding that to juicing every day. She also did a lot of big salads with apple cider vinegar, a little bit of olive oil, did some wild caught salmon, a little bit of chicken and chicken broth, but mostly lots of veggies and herbs and berries. You did probiotics, 100 billion a day, or more, medicinal mushrooms, shiitake, reishi, cordyceps, essential oils, frankincense, myrrh, maybe a little bit of oregano and lavender, Chlorella, spirulina, milk thistle, and turmeric to detox the liver, and then omega-3s and vitamin D3. And we also talked about, you got those amalgam fillings removed, right?
Right.
You started riding horses, walking, being more active. And another thing I remember you did is, remember you got lymphatic massage,
yes,
drainage,
yes.
and you started jumping on the rebounder, that mini trampoline. So we really wanted to get that lymph flowing, so the lymphatic massage and the mini trampoline was great.
Right. And then I went to the chiropractor 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday,
That's right.
Friday, and got adjustments.
Yeah.
And
then-
massages once a week.
Yeah. So massage once a week. Yeah, chiropractic 3. You did a lot of chiropractic.
Oh, definitely.
So one of the things that she had to with her posture was her head was shifted way forward, something called forward head posture. And that was actually affecting her lungs and her breathing. So bringing her head back actually was able to better open up her airways, which was another big thing. You know, when your head is forward, it actually drains your energy. When you get it back, get those chiropractic adjustments, open things up. Really great there as well. So you followed all these things. We talked about the lymphatic massage, horseback riding. You watch funny movies every week, right? Just started watching
laughter.
comedies.
Yes. That's exactly what we did. We just found as many comedies as we could, went to the video store, and that's what we would do.
And I love, and obviously we're talking about 12 years ago, because earlier you were talking about we made a cassette tape, you know,
exactly.
and then we're running the video store, which
I know.
I guess today, you know, you can't even
But
find a video store.
actually, the same, the healing scriptures are on YouTube, because I still listen to healing scriptures.
Okay. And that was
Because
enough.
I believe that the Word of God is healing to the body. And I went to church and I had them pray for healing. I wrote it on a card, July 13th, 2005. I was healed of cancer. And I said that the doctors believe I have cancer, but I believe that I am healed. And I said that over and over and over. And there's some days that were extremely stressful, you know, when you get a diagnosis, and sometimes it would be just like, help me God. And then just get myself calm. Like I said, I used the Word of God. I used healing scriptures to calm my body, and it worked. And then the horse, it was nice to go down. That was
Go see the horse.
go to the barn
Was great.
and get the horse out and ride it. And
Well, I love it. So as you can see with my mom, I mean, your protocol, it was really holistic in nature. Again, number one, you'd wake up in the morning, get grateful, spend time with God, listen to some praise and worship music, and then you do your herbal tea and your juicing and probiotics, and then, you know, see your horse and that type of thing. And you were still working at part-time.
Yes, I was.
So you were still working during this time too, so you were still working. But really holistic in nature. You worked on your spirit, worked on your mind, worked on your body, and all these things together. I think that's one of the most important things. I know, Mom, that after, you know, we worked together on this and healing your body, that, you know, I use this with a lot of patients, but the big thing I see with a lot of people is they're kind of like deer in the headlights. When somebody gets a cancer diagnosis, the biggest word I'll use there is fear. A lot of people have a lot of fear of what's going to happen if they don't follow the doctor's orders. And the great thing about you is, again, you combated fear with scripture. You did all of these things together. And the thing I encourage people with is, you know, make a plan. You know, don't first off, don't stress and worry too much. Just write out what does that perfect day look like for you? Is it, you know, waking up, spending time with God, and then what are the meals you should be eating? What are the supplements? So really, number one, just figure out that strategy and plan. And then there's no thinking, there's no worrying. It's just like, hey, I've got to follow the plan. You know, I've got to release tension. I've got to have fun. I've got to just take care of myself. And so I want to thank Mom for coming on. You're a warrior, so good job. And that's one of the things I always tell people. You're my most compliant patient when we were going through all this.
Right. Well, you told me what to eat for breakfast, lunch, supper. snacks.
Yeah.
And I was in crisis mode. I woke up with, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Yeah.
And that's how I started my day, because like I said, fear was a big part. And you called me every day for months and months and months. You were my health coach. You told me what to do, and I followed it to a T.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't deviate. And as you were learning too, a lot of this you were learning, and then you'd be calling me, and somebody would say, well, why do you do this, or why do you eat that, or why do you take this supplement? And I would say, I don't know, Josh told me to. So then after I retired, I started reading and researching and reading. Well, number one, the website, drax.com, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
You were calling doctors.
That's true, yeah.
All over.
Yeah.
You were learning these things also.
Right.
And so then you were calling me and telling me what to do, and so God is good.
He is. Awesome. Well, thanks, Mom, for being on here. Hey, thanks, everybody, for watching. Hey, thanks for sharing this video. Hey, if you know somebody who needs to hear this information, hey, press share, or hey, send it to somebody who needs to hear this information. We have my mom here, Winona Axe. I want to say thanks for being a guest today on our Facebook and YouTube Live. Thanks for watching, guys. Hi, Dr. Axe here. I want to say thanks so much for checking out this YouTube video, and also don't forget to subscribe if you want to get more great content on things like herbs, essential oils, natural remedies, and how to use food as medicine. Also, check out more of our content on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.